Welcome to episode number 5 of TML Weekly. Today we're just going to be talking about the Leafs' past 3 games against Boston, Buffalo, and Tampa. But quickly, we're just going to say what's up to the boys. Johnny, how's it going?
Going well.
Fantastic. You gotta tell us which Johnny you're going with here, man. Which one are we doing?
Go John on the bottom.
Okay, Johnny on the bottom. I'm great. I'm feeling good. We'll get into a little bit of the Leafs tonight. Listen, we got trouble in River City. I don't want to say that I'm the guy who told you that this was coming, but I'm the guy who told you that this was coming. There's a lot of things that were very, very foreseeable that are happening right now, and a lot of things that maybe aren't as foreseeable that are creeping up. So I'm not loving where we are right now, but we're still getting some W's, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. So I'm taking it with a grain of salt. I'm thanking the Lord that we're not in Edmonton because, man, boy, you think trouble in River City here? Woo, trouble in oil land.
Yeah.
But Johnny, what's going on? What's going on your side of the woods, on the other side of the ocean?
Well, I mean, I hear you. I'm obviously not, nor I have ever been as concerned as you. But we'll get into the Leaf stuff here in a bit. But yeah, the league is in a real weird place right now. There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that weren't supposed to be any good that are playing okay, which is great for those markets. But there's some teams that expected to be good. Calgary, Edmonton. That Ottawa was expected to be better than they are. Buffalo, you could throw into that, honestly. But so what this has a recipe for me is what we're going to see here. I think is we're going to see some blockbusters. This is when big deals get done, when there's multiple teams that are in, and then you look at a team like San Jose that, probably has to play 600 hockey for the rest of the year to make the playoffs. Right?
Well, San Jose's not making the playoffs, John.
Well, I know.
Let's not lie to each other. Yeah.
That's my point, right? So now you've got some moving pieces and sometimes you have a new GM in Calgary with Conroy. I know there's a couple defensemen there that are linked to Toronto. I heard a wacky one about Ullmark going to Edmonton and Draisaitl coming the other way as part of a package. Those deals are out there because there's jobs on the line, right? So if you look at, I'm not worried about Toronto right now. They're ahead of where they were a year ago, and they're starting to. The thing about this team is they go down 4-1 last night, and got outplayed. They started on time. I thought they played okay. Out of the gate, got the first one, but then it was just on your heels. Missing assignments, just gripping your stick. The goalie wasn't very good again, and then what happens is, a switch flips, and then that period, the second period was just like they were just dominant.
You know what, John? I'm going to jump in for 1 second here because I think it's important to acknowledge last night was one of the first times that you noticed, or at least I did, and I watched the game pretty critically, and I have no problem throwing stones where I think they're deserved. But last night, Austin Matthews decided they weren't going down that way last night. The way he came out in that second period, and he decided that the Leafs were coming back, and when he decided that he was turning the volume up a little bit, everybody went with him.
Yep.
And so one of two things is going to happen from this game. This game is going to be a turning point for Matthews in recognizing where he needs to be as a player moving forward. Because we've seen this several times where there's been moments and you want 34 to take the moment and run with it. And you're not sure that he's been able to do that yet. Last night looked like a different 34 to me. And I'm biased. I love the Savior. I think he's fantastic. But last night to me looked like a little bit different. You got that second goal and he kind of turned to the crowd and kind of was like, come on, let's go. And I feel like the team kind of jumped in on it. Just my take. That's,
Yeah, I know you're not a big Keefe fan. I thought Keefe's performance last night was masterful. I thought he kept with it. I liked some of the stuff that he was doing, moving some guys around. He parked Reeves on the bench after a couple of wonky shifts, and I was good with that. He didn't need to address anything. Having Yarncroc, how many shifts has Yarncroc played in overtime for this club in the last 2 years? Not very many.
Yeah.
okay. But listen, but before we start singing the praises of Sheldon Keefe, can we not go back to why did it take you 11 games to put Matthew Nyes on the top line? Matthew Nyes has been averaging. He's been averaging 13 minutes a game.
Yeah.
I have been saying, you guys know I've been beating this drum.
Yeah.
Matthew Nyes deserves to be on the top line.
Right.
Last night showed you.
So I don't know why what it matters whether he's there game 1, game 11, game 62, as long as they figure out before game 82 is over what guys need to be with what guys. And you know what? Nyes won't stay there. He'll be there
Of course
for a while.
not. Keefe will change lines every 36 seconds.
Because that's what coaches do. When you
That's not what successful coaches do. Not what successful coaches do.
You're going to change it.
No, not what successful coaches do.
Yeah. Wow. That's debatable. Keefe is a successful coach. He's won a Calder Cup. That's success.
John, I'll be the very first guy to tell you he's an AHL coach, and I agree with you. He's a successful AHL coach, 100%. I agree. We're in agreement.
Well, I thought he was great last night. I watched the lines, some of the stuff that he did. Like I said, having Yarncroc out there, who was on the bench when Yarncroc was out there that hadn't had a shift yet? A couple of guys that are normally out there.
And let's be honest, though. How great was it that you started overtime? And I mean, wait for it. What a novel idea with 34 at center.
Yeah. Oh, I don't disagree there. You always put your best out.
Not always. It's the first time we've done it all year, John. It's the first time all year we've done it.
I know. They're putting no Camp out there to try to counter something. No, get the puck and go in and score, right?
This is what I agree.
They're going to do it to you.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, but that's there's all kinds of goofy, like they're now they're playing and even Toronto did it on the first shift, and it turned into a good change, and they caught the Tampa guys a little bit, but just clearing the zone and that
they've got that Blue Jays analytics department, telling them what to do.
I don't buy that. So getting back to the rest of the league, Nolan, what do you think is going on in Calgary?
It just doesn't look like they can score or do anything right.
They got the personnel that can score.
Yeah, no.
Johnny Huberdeau had 100 points 2 years ago.
Yeah, I had really high hopes for Calgary this year. I thought they were going to all bounce back. New coach, new GM, some new player personnel. And
for sure. I mean, if you had told me that Vancouver's 8-1 or whatever they are, and Calgary and Edmonton has 4 wins or 5 wins between them, I would have told you that you were nuts, right? And I like some of the Vancouver young players for sure. They're trending upwards, but they're not. I don't think they're as good as the record. But we'll see. I think doesn't Toronto have them this week coming?
Yeah, we got them on Saturday.
Good. That'll be a good test, and and then I just feel like some big stuff's going to happen. There's going to be some major jobs. I sent to you guys in a text last night, and I've heard rumblings. Patrick Waugh wants to coach badly in the National Hockey League. I think Ottawa's an option for him. I think as early as right now. I think if he agreed, they'd fire DJ.
Who I don't think is a bad coach, to be fair.
No, DJ's a good coach. Yeah. Yeah. But here's my thing. I think Patrick was on the radar in Toronto if panic time comes in, right? So Toronto loses the next 3-4, they don't show up, they're, this and that and the other thing. Treliving is gonna, I said this when they extended Keefe, that doesn't matter. He's on a very, very short leash. And it's unfortunately for him, it's going to be based on sheer performance. It's not going to be anything other than wins and losses at this point. So, and I think Patrick Waugh would love to coach this club, and I think he'd be a good coach for this club. He's kind of a hybrid. He's a hybrid of the old school, get in your face, screaming and hollering at the refs, that kind of stuff. The Mike Keenans and the Bob Hartleys and stuff. But he's also been very, very successful as a development guy in Quebec, right? He's taken a bunch of kids, and they're perennial contenders in the Quebec Major Junior League. Lots of players come out of there and play in the National Hockey League. The list is enormous. I think if he got that opportunity, he would jump at that. So I think if let's say Toronto loses the next. Well, Toronto and Ottawa tie tomorrow, and neither one of them does well, and then they both lose 2 or 3 straight, and he has the option. Waugh would obviously come to Toronto. Obviously. And
Ottawa's closer to home, though.
What's that?
Ottawa is closer to home.
Yeah, but he's also 4 years away from winning anything with that group.
Yeah. Well,
best case scenario.
Yeah.
I think
so, Tampa. I think Tampa's going to be on the downside of. Kucherov is still so good.
You guys, Tampa. When Vasilevsky gets back, Tampa's fine.
No,
Tampa,
I don't think they're that good.
I'm telling you, if Andre Vasilevsky's in net last night and Andre Vasilevsky is healthy, the game's over in the first period.
Yeah, they're not going to come back from 4-1 against him for sure.
That's what I'm saying, though. So, that's what I'm saying. If Vasilevsky's in goal, Vasilevsky is one of the few guys in the NHL who's a legitimate difference maker in the net. He's going to win you 5 to 9 games just on his own every year, automatic, right? So even if you have a little bit of a dip, I'm telling you, when Vasilevsky's back and he's healthy, Tampa's going to be fine. Boston, everybody kept saying, and listen, that they were going to fall off the end of the world because the boys were gone. Boston's doing just fine. You'll remember when we went back at the beginning of the year and we were making some predictions, I told you the Leafs are going to be around 95 points. I still think that's where we're going to be.
Yeah, I don't see Boston sustaining their win percentage even close, and I still don't think Tampa's that good. So when it's all said and done, I like Detroit ahead of Tampa in that division, and obviously Florida ahead of Tampa, just with what they have. We're 10 games in, right? You don't know. Nobody even knows who they are yet. You're starting to see things, and that's why there's going to be moves, because there's things that I thought Klingberg is hit and miss. I liked a couple of his. I liked a lot of his game last night. Some of the subtle things away from the puck. He made a couple of mistakes. He got burned there, but I thought he was better last night than the last time I saw him.
John, he's playing 24 minutes a night. John Klingberg cannot play 24 minutes a night on an NHL team and that team be expected to compete. It just can't happen.
What's Toronto's record?
6-4.
So that's competing, I think, isn't it?
Hold on. If Austin Matthews is not on this team, what's our record? It's not 6-4.
Yeah,
it's
but he is
3-8.
He is. He is on this team. He's part of the team.
I know, and he's played like Superman in order to get us to 6-4. Otherwise, we would be 3-8. If Austin Matthews just had an average start to the season, if he was Connor McDavid right now, the Leafs are 3-8.
Yeah,
right now.
John Klingberg skated like Bobby Orr, they'd be 12-0, right? We get Austin's on the team. John Klingberg's playing 24 minutes, and they're 6-4.
John,
he can play in the NHL. He's playing. He's doing it. Would I play him 24 minutes? I don't know. Probably not. But that's the options that you have right now. I don't think McCabe coming back is going to help them as much as everybody else thinks that he is. I haven't liked his game since he came over. I liked him in Chicago.
I loved him in Chicago. I agree with you, though. No, that's fair.
So it is what it is, right? But like I said to you all year, when we talk about goaltending and we even talk about defense, if they play the way they did in the second period last night and most of the third, it doesn't matter who your goaltender is, and it doesn't, because he lets in 4 bad goals in the first period, and they still got 6 in them, right? This team is elite offensively, as good as it gets offensively, and it's moving guys around. So
hold on,
the focus is going to go away from the back end.
To date, we are a 2-line hockey club. That's what we are. Let's not call ourselves elite. We're a 2-line hockey club. We've got 5 goals all season from anyone not on the top 6 of our lines. That is not a recipe.
We should be 1-10, right?
No.
Wow.
What I'm saying is, it is not a recipe for long-term success. It's not. Show me a Stanley Cup winning team that's a 2-line hockey team.
They're not a 2-line hockey team.
What kind of production have you got from the 3rd and 4th line of the Maple Leafs?
You don't need them. What do you need them to do? You need them to keep the puck out of the other end. That's what you need them to do, and then the other guys score. Teams are built like this since the day of hockey.
I don't know, man. I can't think of any team that's won a Stanley Cup that does not get scoring from their 3rd and 4th line. I can't think of it.
You're using a 10-game sample period. So you're telling me that Domi's not going to score any goals, Camp won't get any either. It's 10 games.
Hold
it's
on.
A slump. It's a bad start for a couple of these guys offensively. I think Domi's starting to go. I think he's looking good. I liked him last night.
Now listen, last night was his best game of the season. I'm not taking that away from him, but I think it is very, very fair to say we are seeing very acutely why Max Domi is on his 5th team in 6 years.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think that's fair to say, right? I think it's also fair to say that Tyler Bertuzzi thus far is looking an awful lot like Nick Ritchie.
Wow, that's no. Tyler Bertuzzi can skate and get back up and down the ice.
Can he stay healthy, John?
Ritchie couldn't skate.
Can he stay healthy?
Do you think good? He's played every game.
No. He's dressed every game. I don't know that he's played every game.
You know what, John? You got to step back and look at the big picture. When you focus on this guy's no good, there's no production from the bottom 6. It's you're right, but they're 6-4. What were they this time last year?
I think they were the same, weren't they?
Yeah, same or one game worse. Did their bottom 6 have any goals yet?
Couldn't tell you, Johnny.
Well, that's my point, right? It's irrelevant until we get to if we get to Christmas and the bottom 6 has 8 goals combined. Maybe look at it, but there's too much. There's too much talent. You know what? I'm not a big Robertson fan, but I liked his game last night. He kept it simple. He got pucks deep. I didn't mind him with Domi, but
so it's interesting. Let's talk about Nick Robertson.
Yeah,
because he's had a decent start in for the Marlies. I think he was 5 goals, 6 assists in something like 9 games. So he was playing well down there. My view on Nick Robertson is if you're going to have Nick Robertson in your lineup, Nick Robertson has to be in your top 6. You got to give him. He's a goal scorer. He's a guy who's been able to score when healthy. Now, granted, not healthy at the NHL level, but at every level that he's played at, he's a goal scorer. I don't know that treating him like Matthew Nyes and burying him on the third line playing 13 minutes a night is the way to decide whether or not he's going to be competitive. I look at Tyler Bertuzzi, and I think like we gave him a bunch of games up top with the big boys. He did nothing. Now we've given him last night a couple of nights with Tavares and Nylander, and if we're honest, Tavares and Nylander had their worst game of the season last night playing with Bertuzzi. So at a certain point, I got to think, like, let's give him a shot on the second line.
Yeah, that's going to happen. All that stuff that you're talking about is going to happen. The lines, the way they are, like, they're going to get thrown into a blender. If they have, you're down in a game, you're going to move some stuff around. I'm fine with that. Robertson, though.
I know you're not a Robertson fan. I know.
You know what? I'm not an entitlement fan. Nyes is a rookie, played a few games and got hurt in the playoff size. He's a rookie, right? Robertson has done nothing for this franchise, right? Other than just kind of be there. And, I don't dislike him. I mean, he's been a little bit of a victim of circumstances, but I don't like the fact that when you say, the coaches buried him on the third line or fourth line, playing 13 minutes. He should be happy he's getting 30. He's in the National Hockey League. So you know what? Get out there. Or what I tell players, right? We want to get more than 13 minutes, then do something to make me think that you're worthy of that. And if you can't figure out how to, have a couple of heavy shifts and get in on the forecheck, get some shots on goal, get the pucks to the net in 13 minutes, then you're probably not going to get a shot on any of my teams.
Okay, so then let me ask you this then, and serious question, because I've heard the head coach come out and talk about Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
And I've heard him say directly, we gave him a basic assignment tonight.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even do that. And yet, here he is, game after game, opportunity after opportunity, up in that top 6 forward position. I don't understand that, John.
It's called tenure. He's earned it, right? Not saying that he's going to stay there, because if the performance continues and he doesn't find a way to contribute to that top 6, whether it's protecting them, banging bodies, I don't know, but tenure is a thing, right? The guy's been in the NHL for 8 or 10 years. He's got a $5-6 million deal. He's going to get top 6 minutes until it's time for him not to. And that's just not.
We're getting close. We're getting close, Johnny.
No, I don't think you're as close as you think.
Well, I mean, Sheldon Keefe's in charge, so probably not.
I think they'd move him before they would demote him to a bottom 6.
Oof. Oof. You think Tree Living would admit a mistake that quickly in this market?
He's going to have to. He won't be here.
Okay. All right.
Tree Living is going to have to admit mistakes, and if Klingberg's won, if Domi's won, when the sample size has been enough, or Bertuzzi's won, yeah, he's gonna figure out real quick in this market. You better fix it, because you've got the rest of the pieces. If those guys aren't the right guys are still out there. I like the 2 defensemen in Calgary that they're talking about, Tanev and the Russian kid, big
Zadorov.
Yeah. Those 2 coming over. I don't know who would have to go the other way, but those 2 guys are proven. I like the way they both play. But like I said, there's trades out there. There's going to be moves. There's going to be moves.
You know what? I'm looking at Calgary right now.
Yeah.
And listen, this is not going to be a great take, but Nazem Kadri, I would not hate to see Nazem Kadri back here.
Yeah, but
I know the ticket.
Who? Nylander?
it's a big ticket. It's a big ticket. But I mean, like Nazem Kadri he's a minus 12. Huberdeau is a minus 12. Like at a certain point, if Calgary continues to be where Calgary is Calgary not willing, do you think, to eat a little bit of a contract to get out of the Huberdeau deal, to get out of the Kadri deal?
Oh, they won't eat that much of a long deal like that. There's no way.
Too long.
Maybe if there was a year left or 2 years left, you're better off to buy him out at that. Better off to buy him out, and your cap hit's going to be way better. It's a tough one because
it's a tough one. No, it is.
Those two guys that they're talking about out there, Huberdeau and Kadri, they're elite NHL hockey players. And
3 goals in 22 games. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's tough. Well, and don't forget that who made those moves and who made those signings, right? And that's why when the heat comes on him and people are going to start to say, look what he did to Calgary, they're a mess, right? So I think he's a little bit ahead of what we're thinking. I think if we think that they've got 2 weeks to sort out whatever the issues are. I'm not saying he's going to fire the coach or make a big trade or do something, but he's going to do something. He's got his finger on the trigger right now to do something. Had they got pumped last night when it was 4-1 after 1, if that game's 7-8-1, there's something big happening. I think there's a couple of moves out there that are waiting for him. Goaltenders. I have to think that he's looking at that position. Defense obviously banged up a little bit.
How do we? So I think actually, and here's a question I wanted to ask, and I actually have no idea on what how this works for long-term injured reserve. If, let's say hypothetically, Sammy's come out and said that he's got anxiety issues, he's got depression issues, and he's been fairly transparent, and kudos to him for having the confidence to come out in this marketplace and say stuff like that. Do we know, like, could you go on long-term injury reserve?
Yeah.
For a mental health illness?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
The player would have to agree. The player would have to agree to it, but at a certain point, it is not doing Samsonov any benefit, right? Like if you looked at him last night after that third or fourth goal went in, the camera zoomed in on him. He was a deer in the headlights, man. And he got to the bench and they showed him a couple times, and I thought, I legitimately almost felt bad for the guy. Like he looks just lost, doesn't know where he is right now. And at a certain point, do you just take a step away? I'm not talking like backlid step away, but like, do you take a step away?
No. He's a goalie. Most goalies that I've ever played with or coached are a little off. They're
different breed. Yeah.
Look at some of the characters of the game are goaltenders.
Timmy Thomas.
He needs to go on a little bit of a heater. He needs to play and get 3 or 4 wins and get his confidence back. I mean, it's a real it's a tough market to play in. It really is. I think my first advice for anybody to come into the Maple Leafs or the organization would be don't do social media. Don't read any reports, and tell your close circle of friends just to not share anything with you, because you can make yourself crazy with some of the stuff that's written about you. There's people saying, headlines, and there's so many clickbait crap that comes out, and it'll say, blah, 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 blah. Just tune it out, right? Everybody wants to be an expert on everything now and put their opinions out there. And some of them are very hurtful, right? There's people out there that still, there's one group that I Probably shouldn't, but I do. It's called NHL Uncensored. I think I've seen you there before, Johnny. It's and they basically
it's rough.
Yeah,
it's
I've
rough.
got
No
into
holds
it.
barred.
I don't, I don't like they call it uncensored, but to me, yeah, if you want to call out, a fan of the other team, fine. When it gets into the homophobic stuff and borderline racist stuff,
nobody's got time for that.
On that. I don't like it. Not a place for it. But some of the things that are being said, even on those pages are, disgusting. And these are only ones that I see. There's some that I've seen some stuff and just kind of block them. That if you can get inside your head, and it could be his wife, right? Samsonov could have a young Russian wife that she's reading about it and telling him, there's so much of that. I think he's fine. You know what? He can play in the NHL. His positioning seems a little off. He's overplaying. He's overcompensating, but that's fixable, right? That's
it's interesting because I've had this conversation a few times with a few different people, and this is my take on Samsonov. He is not as bad a goalie as he's been this year. This is not what Ilya Samsonov is.
No.
However, that being said, teams that draft and develop a young goaltender tend not to give up on them at 24. Then, when he hits free agency, after Washington walked away, nobody picked up the ticket. No one did. And so he came out and signed with the Leafs on a prove-it deal. And let's be honest. Let's be very honest about what Samsonov did last year. He was lights out Vezina quality goaltending in November and December. From January onward, he was a .500 goalie with a .900 save percentage. It's below NHL average.
Making his money, he's earning what they pay him.
Listen, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Ilya Samsonov is not as bad a goaltender as he's shown this year.
Oh, for sure.
However, he is not anywhere near an elite level goaltender. He is an average NHL goaltender. That's what he is.
They all are, John.
They're not all.
Yes, they are. They all are, with the exception of Vasilevsky. Honestly, maybe Ettinger. There's not another elite goaltender in the NHL.
You just said that because I love Jake Ettinger.
Well, I'm just telling you. No, I'm just saying those are the two. Those are the two studs now with Price gone. That's it.
Shesterkin.
Who?
Oh, Shesterkin's pretty good too. Yeah, Shesterkin's pretty good.
Well, look at the system that they play and look at the coaches that they're playing for. There's reasons why some goalies look better than others.
For sure, there are.
He's an exception. Dallas plays a very good trap game, right? Rangers
have a stud defensive team.
What's that?
Rangers have a stud defense.
Right.
Yeah, I can get there. I'm just saying.
In the NHL, everybody else, I've said it, and I've said it for 25 years. If you can play major junior, you're one of the starter or a backup on any major junior team in North America. So, all the Q, the dub, and the O. Every one of those kids can play in the NHL. They have the goaltending training, the equipment, everything is so advanced compared to when I came up and any of you guys came up. I watched the goaltender instruction now. These kids, if you make a major junior hockey club and play there for a couple of years, you can be a starter in the National Hockey League. It's the guys that have it between the ears that make it. All of those kids are physically able. They're all 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" at the junior level now. You don't see 6-foot goalies in the O anymore. They're 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", athletic. Unbelievable. Play the puck. It's the guys that have it upstairs that make it.
I mean, minus Bobrovsky.
Those are the elites.
Minus Bobrovsky.
Yeah. Yeah. And the aliens and the Martians and the bears but no, you know what? So goaltending, and I keep saying it, you got to get hot at the right time.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it could be Wall, it could be this guy, it could be, goaltending is just so arbitrary, and it's mental. It's 85% mental because they're all physically able to stop the puck at the National Hockey League level. The shots aren't that much different anymore. They used to be.
Fair point. Yeah. And so do we think, and listen, he's on a one-way deal. He'd have to agree to it. Do we think that there's any chance that he accepts an assignment down and Jones comes up?
Who?
Samsonov.
He's got to go through waivers.
No. Totally. He completely have to go through waivers.
Yeah.
Do you think the Leafs would risk it knowing that they've got Jones down there?
No.
He's on a 1-year deal at 3.5. Or what is he making?
Not at this point, no. If he goes out and gets smashed 6 games starts in a row, maybe you start to think like that. There's no way you waive that guy. You want to waive that guy and somebody picks him up in your division and you got to play them in the first round? Not a chance. You don't waive. Nolan, what do you think? Would you do that?
I'm not too sure if many teams would, just because he's got a $3.5 million cap hit, so it's kind of hard to pick up. But I can see the Oilers trying to get him.
West Coast team, and I'm not going to lie to you, their fan base is not going to be excited picking up another Leaf goalie.
Trade him there and get something.
No, and listen, I'm not.
I wouldn't risk him being in the Atlantic Division and being Tampa's backup or Florida's backup or Boston's backup if they move one of their two. That's not the recipe that I'd want because he can play. We know he can play.
Yeah, but do you legitimately think any one of those teams is picking up a $3.5 million tag for a backup goaltender?
Depends on the time of the year and the standings and
I don't know. They're all max cap teams, John. They're all max cap teams.
There's ways around it.
Okay. Listen, I mean, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, at a certain point, if we get to the point where, and let's be honest, Samsonov's now been pulled in 3 of his last 4 games.
Yeah. They won 2
right?
of them.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I mean, yeah. I mean, okay.
Hey, Nolan, who are our sponsors here tonight?
Oh, shout out to sponsors.
Yeah, we got Bjorn Hockey and Don Cherry's Sports Bar and Grill.
Hey, and I'll be honest, there's a Don Cherry Sports Bar and Grill here in St. Catharines that is absolutely fantastic. So if you're watching us and you're in the St. Catharines area, absolutely check out the bar. It's great. Friendly service, good food, good time, good atmosphere too.
We're in expansion mode too. I know they're licensing restaurants right across the country, and we've got one being built here in Nova Scotia. There's a couple already, and they're looking for more. So yeah. And
if I'm not wrong, Johnny, Bjorn hockey sticks pretty good.
Going okay. There's lots of young guys using them and keeping scoring some goals. And
what's the website for Bjorn Hockey? Do we know yet?
Bjornhockey.ca is the new one's about to go live.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts, Nolan? What do you think? What give us? You've been kind of refereeing here tonight. What are your thoughts going into the next couple? You got Ottawa, Vancouver, Calgary.
Yeah, I think it's a couple winnable games here. The Vancouver one's gonna be cool to watch. See Patterson, Hughes, Demko. See how we match up against them. Excited to see that one. Obviously, Battle of Ontario is gonna be a good one tomorrow night. Calgary Friday night should be a win based on how it's going right now. But
I'll make a prediction on the Ottawa game. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be vicious. I think you're going to see if the little closed door meeting about addressing things like they all say happened. I think you're gonna find an opportunity tomorrow night to see if that's actually the case.
Okay, we got to talk about this. I can't believe that we've made 39 minutes in. Okay, we cannot get off a Maple Leafs weekly podcast and not discuss the Timothy Liljegren situation. We can't do it. Absolutely cannot. And so I am not going to comment. I'm going to wait to hear your takes first on this. Nolan, I want, before Johnny goes in, I want to hear your take on the entire situation, the incident, the reaction, the meeting afterwards, kind of what you think and what your opinion of the situation is.
Okay, so starting with the hit, I think it's just a crappy move by Marchand, obviously. Dirty play, slew foot. Wes McCauley was right there watching it, didn't call it. And then you saw afterwards the reaction, or lack of reaction, should I say. Just no one stepped up for him. I want to see like return knowledge. Your teammate gets taken out on a dirty play. No one does anything. Yeah, it's my thoughts.
Johnny?
Yeah, I don't think the play was vicious. It was a little bit of a can opener. It obviously wasn't suspendable. Was it a penalty? Absolutely. I don't even think it was a major penalty. Honestly, it's a fast play, but it's nonetheless it's a penalty and absolutely should have been addressed. And it shouldn't have had to go to Reeves. It should have been who I don't think I saw that game. I saw the highlights. Should have been the closest guy to that play. When you see your defenseman go down in a heap, he's got to address it. If he doesn't address it, it absolutely needs to be addressed. Brad Marchand, and you know what? Maybe Reeves has to go out and jump the guy. I'm okay with that, and maybe kind of show his worth. He's talked, and then I didn't like the look when he said I didn't get another shift against him, and then somebody dug out they had two. So don't. I didn't like that. I thought it was a little gutless to say that. So you were implying that if I was on the ice with him again in that game, I was going to do something. Well, it's proven that you were. So he's got to earn a little bit of respect back, I think, from me at this point. I'd like to see. I like I said, tomorrow night, DJ Smith's job's on the line, right? Keefe's always under hot water from guys like my friend John here that want him gone after a bad period. But I think these two teams are at a point where something goofy is going to happen there tomorrow night. And you throw the Brady Tkachuk side in, he's going to come in. And I think that you're going to find out one way or the other whether and just to finish off my side of that, and that was Treleving's meeting. That was his meeting. He came down and said, okay, you know what? Why didn't this get addressed? And I don't even blame it on Keefe. These players, do you think an NHL coach, John, has to go and say, you go jump that guy?
Okay. Can I have the floor?
Sure.
Okay.
Can't imagine what kind of nonsense you're going to come up with.
So, number one, the incident happens on the ice. Absolutely no reaction from any player on the ice. Number one, that's a problem. Number two, in that moment, that shows you nothing has changed. This is the same team that we have seen since Montreal, since Columbus, since the first two Tampa series, since Florida last year. It's the same team with the same cast of characters. Nobody wants to do anything. Personally, I believe, and I intrinsically believe this, is that the team, and John, you've coached many a team embodies the coach. The spirit of the coach and how the coach wants a team to play is how that team plays. I believe intrinsically that this coach is a passive team. That's the way he wants his team to play. Turn the other cheek. You've got the skill. You've got the talent. We're going to beat you on the power play. That is his modus operandi, has been since he's been here. Now, if you're on the ice and you see this situation take place, Liljegren goes down. He's not getting up. It's a bad situation. I've got Ryan Reeves mouthing off to everybody from the bench because he's a tough guy. And then you look over, and there's Tyler Bertuzzi. 2 goals on the season, 5.5. He's having a chuckle at what's going on.
He was laughing at what Revo said.
Sure, let's say that. It's still a terrible look, John.
No,
it's still a terrible look.
That's no. You know what?
Listen,
I'm not going to give you that at all because
okay.
I've been reading that kind of nonsense on social media. Oh, he's laughing because his player got hurt. Bullshit.
No, that's not why I'm saying he's laughing. That's not why I'm saying he's laughing. I'm saying regardless of the situation, don't listen to him. You be fired up enough to say your own stuff and get at him. You should be chomping at the bit. You've done nothing since you've been here. This is your chance. Step up and do something. Now, let's let that go. Now, here we are. Montgomery for Boston. Okay? You want to know what he did? He sat there and went, they're going to do nothing. And he left Marchand on the ice. 40 seconds to go in the period.
And you're blaming the coach.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. The head coach for Boston challenged the Maple Leafs and said, I'm leaving my guy out there.
Right.
Do something. And you want to know what the entire Maple Leafs did? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
Now, if you're the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, you've seen your guy go off. You've seen that coach on the other side go, I dare you to do something. What did Keefe do? What did he do?
He didn't need to do anything. Somebody on the ice needed to deal with it then.
Okay, and so when he sees, but John, let's be honest about it. A coach has to know his team. A coach has to know what's going on, what the vibe is, what the feeling is. And you know what? When you see that you're not getting the reaction, that you're not getting what you want from these players, it's your job when you've got the baddest, toughest man in the NHL sitting on your bench just to give him a little tap on the shoulder and say, son, go handle business. You don't need to say anything to Reeves. You need to tap him on the shoulder with 40 seconds to go in the period and say, you're up. He knows what to do. But you know what happened? Nothing. And then the gutless wonder at the end of the game had the balls to get in front of everybody and say, you know what? I really hated our response to that situation. I'm sorry, Sheldon Keefe. You do not get to have a pass and then blame the team for not reacting when you absolutely chose to walk away from the situation and not do anything. I'm sorry, John.
In your opinion, he chose.
In my opinion, he totally chose. Who decides who goes on the ice, John? Is it the coach?
Was Reeve on the ice with Marchand again in the game? Why?
You know as well as I do. There's a time and place in hockey. There's a time and place. He missed the time. He missed the place. Yet again,
when they're down 2-0,
John, I could care less about the game. Honestly, in that moment, I could care less about the 2 points. It is about changing the atmosphere, changing the way we're perceived throughout the league. You think right now anybody's scared of the Leafs and what we're going to do? You want to listen? Last night we were talking about the game. We were saying the Leafs got to make it ugly now. Leafs wouldn't make it ugly. Leafs don't know how to make it ugly. You know,
anyway, you know what? We're going to beat a dead horse here. We've already been.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
On the situation, that's what I'm sticking with.
So tune into the game tomorrow night because you're going to see. In my opinion, I think Brady Tkachuk's going to run around or do something. There's a lot of pressure on both sides. I think we'll get to a point where maybe you'll see what they're made of tomorrow night. But to call Sheldon, do you remember Sheldon as a player?
Yep.
Vicious. 2-hand you across the head as soon as look at you. So
where did that guy go? Where did that guy go, John?
Maybe he's coming out. We'll see. Anyway, I'll be tuning in. Hope you all are as well tomorrow night. Any final words, John?
Listen, let's talk about a couple of games to go here. I like Calgary coming up. I think Calgary's in a tough spot. I think that we can take Calgary. Vancouver worries me, and I'm not going to lie to you, John. Very similar to what you said. Ottawa, I don't care what anybody says about how Ottawa plays Toronto tough all the time. And I'll be honest, that Tkachuk, any of those Tkachuk brothers, I would have them on my team any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I love them all. I love the way they play hockey. And I'm expecting a 1-2 homestand here.
1-2. Oh,
1-2.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not sold on Vancouver. I think if you go hard tomorrow night, that Ottawa game should be very winnable. Calgary, absolutely. And again, I'm not sold on Vancouver. So I'm going to say 5 out of 6 points. Nolan, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think like I mentioned earlier, I think Ottawa's going to be a good game tomorrow, and then Calgary, there should be 2 points. Then Vancouver's going to be a good test. I'm excited to watch that one.
Yeah.
How many points, Nolan? How many points?
Might be Vancouver.
I'll go 4 points.
4 points. Okay, 2 and 3. All right. Great. I'm the negative Nancy. Surprise, surprise.
All right. Thanks to Bjorn Hockey, Don Cherry Sports Grill, and all of you for joining in, watching, listening, commenting. We'll see you next week.
Go Leafs, go, boys.